Hi, Starseeds and Lightworkers, and welcome to your Lumerian messages. I'm very excited to do this reading this week because I have been working with the Lumerian energy for the past couple of months, and many of you have been asking about the Atlantean bloodline reading that I had intended on doing. Well, in my research of Atlantis, I kept getting led to Lemuria, which is nothing I was really interested in prior, but they are both very interconnected as I've learned through all of my research. And in all the like books and documentaries and stuff I've watched about Lemuria, this right here, Lemuria, the Lost Continent of the Pacific, this is volume 12 of the Rosicrucian Library, and I do have several other volumes from the Rosicrucian Library in my collection, but this actually has the best information, and I found a free PDF. It's not like a sign-up service or anything. You just click the link straight to a PDF so you guys can read this book for yourself. But before we get into the reading, I want to read this one passage to you in this book because it's beautiful. So it says, they stated that God realized that every spiritual existence had to have a spiritualized manifestation in transition in order to be consciously conscious of its own existence. God, having produced nature and every living thing, had an idea of an ideal manifestation of the absolute, and he produced man as perfect as himself was perfect. If God failed in 1/1,000,000th part of the perfection of man, and if our modern writers change that first man in any way, they destroy the existence of the infinite God. God's ideal and perfect man was 1,000 times more nearly perfect than I am today. I know that the Lemurian people were thousands of years old, the offspring of the original human family, coming down through two long and interesting races whose earthly existence was purely immortal. That is, if the divine injunctions handed down from them to the Lemurians were authentic. That history was simply this, that man wanted to be free. He begged for freedom. He knew he was divinely free, but he wanted to be a free moral agent. He knew more about liberty than some of us. God endowed man with reason, but man lost track of his divinity. Then came sickness, pain, and death. Lameness and disease came into existence, and from there were millions blind, so many so that thereafter the Atlanteans called them the blind race. So that's just one juicy nugget in this book. It's amazing. I also, I wanted to just tell you guys this too. The first version of this was in 1931, so that's the age of this story. Now, this here by W. E. Scott Elliott is the story of Atlantis and Lost Lemuria. I read this too. This is a good resource, but I didn't really find it too helpful. The Atlantis story is written in 1896 and Lost Lemuria was written in 1904. So it is interesting in that aspect, just, some of the things written in here. But yeah, so I just wanted to show you another resource of older literature if you're interested. But this one here, yeah, and free PDF. And who doesn't need some free right now with everything going on in the world, right? Okay, so I'm going to get into the reading. I also did a Lemurian activation. I'll link that below as well if you haven't watched that. It was actually quite powerful for me. And will play into this reading that we are going to have today. You don't have to have had to have watched it to understand this reading, but it's definitely connected. So we're going to pull a Lemurian goddess to lead us through this reading. All right, and we have the goddess of reflection, and I just want you to look at the symbolism there. And this is realized by means of energized goddess symbol card with which themes you resonate, which will feel unpleasant to you respectively. So self-awareness, cognitive cognitive process, pausing to think, introspection, honesty, flexibility, realignment, gain, but also conceivedness, inflexibility, stagnation, obstinacy, ignorance, suppression, subconscious. So this is what you are working with, the energy that is coming in right now with us to help us through this first part of the Lemurian reawakening and the activation of the Lemurian light codes within each and every one of us. And so the goddess of reflection is coming in, and she's trying to help remind you, make you remember, like the reflection, not of like your journey, but of many journeys past, your ancient lineage connected to this planet. And she's coming through to help you with that. So let's pull a frequency and see what's coming through there. All right, so we have the number 11, which there's another number here, 8134821, which is the solar center. And then look at the symbolism that's attached, and it says, blocks of debris block the path. When you break through, you flow with the 4 channels of consciousness to the solar center of understanding. That inner star center is your soul that opens you to the 4 corners, 4 connectors to understanding the secrets you inquire about. So this here is talking exactly about this, that remembering, that awakening, helping to remove the blocks, the veil, everything that prevents you from tapping in to this Lemurian energy that is part of your soul. And the soul center, look at that. So the imagery and this number is supposed to be very activating for you to the subconscious mind, okay? The conscious mind, you know, is going to try to create a narrative, make sense, make it rational, relate it to personal experience somehow, some way. And that's where we get really, you know, screwed up in our understanding. It's the subconscious mind that needs to take in all this imagery. It will make sense of it, and then it will push it towards your conscious mind, and you will feel activated. Things will just start looking different. You'll start thinking different. There's this remembering and this awakening happening within you. So this is very powerful energy, and I do intend to do a lot more readings with this Lemurian energy. I hadn't anticipated it at all, but like I said, this is where Spirit led me when I was trying to research Atlantis, and I've learned a little bit more about Atlantis, but it's like Lemuria. So let's go in and pull some more cards. Okay, so the Realm Bridger. Yep, look at that. Connecting those Lemurian light codes of the ancient into the now as part of the new blueprints, reawakening the ancient wisdom within each and every human being on this planet. Oh, so powerful. Next is Luminin Essence. Oh, yeah, look at that. It is time for those Lemurian light codes to activate within you, and it's going to just change who you are all the way from the inside out, the way you see, the way you perceive, the mission that you believe you're here to do. All of it is going to have this major transformation as you awaken these Lemurian light codes within you, and you have this remembering, this awakening of a time, ancient time, long time ago. And you walked this plane, or if you didn't personally walk this plane, you have the coding written within you of those experiences of others from your collective that have. So it would be as if those were your own experiences to guide you on this mission, on this journey. And life force energy. With these Lemurian light codes now coming in, able to finally be activated and, you know, anchored down into the earth plane, it brings forth a lot of healing energy, and I feel kind of activates those different, you know, there's so many waves of energy flying around the earth plane right now just with our technology, that we need this natural rise in frequency of vibration. And that natural rise of frequency and vibration within each and every person is like a natural shield and protection. It's like evolution of the environment, if that makes sense. And so you guys are the forefront of making that happen. Oh, so beautiful. All right, let's get some more cards. Elven ones, divine creation codes, starborn, architects, divas, sacred geometry. So you are going to start seeing the energy of the matrix, which encompasses the earth plane. And I'm not saying that that's a negative force. You're just going to see the energy of the connection of things much differently. You're connecting more in with Mother Earth Gaia as well, because you are one of the architects to lay down the new blueprints. And now we have the ether and matter, and it says spiritualized matter, new life, sparkles, bedding in the light. Bedding in the light is these Lemurian light codes that the ancient Lemurian spirits are trying to help activate within each and every one of us at this time. Hence why I'm going to be working with this energy quite a bit, because we finally had that 444 gateway open for us, and that is like so instrumental to this energy. And honestly, I didn't know that at the time with that portal. It was after we got through that, and then all of this came through so strong. And oh, okay, depths of love. Let go of fear to jump into love. Let go beyond attachments. So we've got to let an old paradigm kind of fall down and be torn down within us, because this Lemurian light codes, this new consciousness expansion, isn't compatible with some of the beliefs that we currently hold, patterns of behavior, major shifting for all the light workers and star seeds. And now we have the Arcturians, pure white light, DNA healing, sacred geometry. So you got sacred geometry coming out twice. Those of you that aren't really into that or don't know much about it, it's time to learn. There's going to be a lot of activation, subconscious activation. In fact, that's where I feel the Lemurian energy is trying to take each and every one of us, is to that subconscious mind. And like, we have a lot to rewrite over. Okay, and the sacred geometry, the different symbolisms will be activating to the subconscious mind. So that's part of it. DNA healing, healing the damage at the DNA level of all those energies flying around the earth plane right now. And those of you Arcturian starseeds, here is a special message of love from home, reminding you and letting you know that you guys are going to have a major activation to your third eye chakra, and a lot of that will be found through sacred geometry. Next we have the Syrian emissary, dream for the new earth, time now for a magical life. So yeah, you really activating the Lemurian light codes within is just going to change everything about you. It's like it will exist here amongst what is, but it's almost like you are in a different dimension. You can see earth as it is, but you also see the shifting of what's to come. Like, you see the energy in motion. All right, and also you Syrian starseeds, a message of love from home. And for you guys, you are about to have a major heart chakra activation and deep DNA healing and repair for you guys. Okay, next out is the last cloak, and release old identities, magnificence essence realized. So that's the current image of yourself, projection of yourself that you have, me as well, all starseeds and light workers. It's going to be really tested because it's time for a major transformation into a brand new knowing of who and what you are, a whole different level. And a lot of the beliefs and practices that have carried you thus far, all of that's going to shift and fall away because it worked for, you know, this point in your evolution, of this point of your vibration, but now you're going somewhere else. So what you have believed for a long time is going to shift. You're going, I'm telling you, into new dimensions and understanding about what this truly is all about. And it's not like all this fluff, and yes, it is for the upliftment of humanity, but you're going to see it more, I want to say, from like a scientific almost perspective, where you're the Lemurians are going to show you a lot of things without an emotional attachment to it, so you can better understand it. And that doesn't mean like that you're losing your compassion and empathy or anything, but you're going to start seeing a lot of things more from an emotional distant perspective rather than being emotionally immersed within humanity. And you need some of this distance to really hold these light codes and go to that next level. And you know, there will be this rejoining where you're more immersed once again, but I do feel a bit of emotional disconnection where you're more focused on like the mission, the understanding, and not so sucked into like the suffering and the awakening of others. You're kind of going on a bit of a personal mission as these Lemurian light codes really activate within you, and a lot's going to change about you and what you believe, and again, just like forever belief systems. And you know, that's really hard for anybody. Like, I remember I was Christian my whole life, and when I started awakening and that belief system was being shattered, it was incredibly traumatic for me, like a rug ripped right out from underneath me. And so I do feel for some of us there is a sense of that where the Lemurians are going to take you into a place of knowing and seeing and understanding, and you're just going to be like, whoa, wow, I never imagined, I never saw. So prepare. There's going to be just major shifting in the mind. Fire and water, stillness, immense turmoil, feel emotional integration. You know me and my pronunciation. I'm not even going to try. Okay, so with this, exactly all I've just said. You need to be the stillness amongst the turmoil that's crazy right now, and that's why there's this bit of emotional detachment taking place. It's like for the preservation and protection of each one of you. And again, that's not that you're losing your empathy or compassion. It's just there's like this, you know, bubble almost of energy that's around you, because if you get too sucked into these lower vibrational energies that a lot of people are feeling and experiencing right now, you lose your light. You're unable to anchor the codes. It really throws you out of balance. And so this is like a protection of love from the Lemurians coming in around each and every starseed and light worker to rise them up and protect them from this terrible emotional pain that so many on the earth plane are experiencing right now. And you know, each and every one of us falling into that and feeling that sadness with everybody, that takes the light away. And so that's why they're coming in to put that protection rise up, because it's most important that you always hold the light, that you always hold the space, especially in the darkest moments. And you know, it's so intense and heavy that many are starting to like slip and lose their balance. And so the Lemurians are like coming in, let me raise you up, let me put that buffer between you and everything else right now, so you can activate, you can see the higher picture. I could take you into a whole new realm, and then in that space you just evolve in such a way that you can come back into all of those emotion. But there's like a better, you are much better at knowing where you end and others begin, and picking up on that energy and realizing that it's good to feel, it's good to be empathetic and compassionate towards people. But when it starts entering you and poisoning you, that's a problem. Like, you've got to think of it this way. If you have a perfectly fine loaf of bread, but in the very center is a moldy piece of bread, eventually every piece of bread in that loaf is going to get molded. And the Lemurians are trying to prevent that from happening to the Starseeds and Lightworkers right now, is because, just to, and I don't want to really talk about the darkness here. It doesn't need attention spoken from me, like through my word. You are all aware of it. And so the Lemurians are coming in, and they want to protect you from that, so that the mold doesn't touch you and affect you, so to speak. And now we have peace beyond survival. Peacemaker through inner peace, resolving ancient splits. Yep, see? Bringing the timelines back together, pulling in, like, from a long time ago, those ancient teachings and vibrations of energy when it was when the earth plane was a much higher frequency of experience. It's bringing those timelines into the now, right here. And see, you've got to be a force that is unstoppable, and that's why the Lemurians are coming in now to help each and every starseed and light worker, to protect them, to rise them up, to activate them, to remind them, so that they can anchor these Lemurian light codes of the past into the now for the new earth. So let's pull some tarot. Two of Pentacles, Knight of Pentacles, Queen of Swords, and Five of Wands. Okay, here it is. Where here you are, and it's time for this major elevation, huge expansion of consciousness. And this green around the two, that's the protection of the Lemurians, trying to create that buffer against all those heavy emotions that are more predominant on the earth plane right now, so that they don't, attack you and pull you down, and you're, lost in the sauce with everybody else, because you have to hold the space, you have to hold the light no matter what is going on. Like, that is the promise you made. And so that's why the Lemurians are coming in, because they promised you, I will always be there. And now is the time where they can come in stronger than ever before. And you know what? You're probably going to start seeing Lemurian readings and energies and stuff popping up all over the place. And then you'll just say, yep, they're here, and they're part of me, and I'm activating, and I'm holding these light codes. And I just see this elevation and their beautiful protection around you. And then now we have the Knight of Pentacles, and that here is anchoring the Lemurian light codes into the earth plane. It's going to be a process. It's going to be slow moving, but it's going to be solid and creating a new foundation for the new blueprints right there. And here, each and every one of you coming through as the Queen of Swords, where we've got to keep our mind right. It's centered, balanced, and focused on the mission. And, you've got the Sword of Protection here, which is the Lemurian energy. And this right here, nothing gets past this Queen. Nothing gets past this Queen, but also brutally honest, the purest form of truth and connection to the higher realms. Right there. And then here we are, on the last message, where I see this is the current trajectory of, the earth and the story that's at hand. And these are the timelines that are trying to come in and be at play. and Lemurian energy, and then some other energies, not all positive energies. And so many timelines trying to merge with this one, certain people trying to control the game, control the narrative. But you see the yellow coming in, that's the Lemurian energy, and this is only going to allow that stream, that timeline to connect with the earth plane. But if not enough of us are holding these light codes, then it can't align. So there's that. Okay, let's pull some advice. Okay, well, those jumped right out. So, wildflower, live an uncontrolled life, free to grow anywhere and bound by nothing. You are stronger and bigger than any other force of darkness. Just know that, okay? Know it. Next out is play. Among the grass and wild violets lie undisturbed little secrets to uncover. And that's the Lemurian light codes activating within you, where your mind, you just becoming somebody else, and dare take a risk and fly. And this is where a lot of your current beliefs about things are going to have a major overhaul and shift into higher understanding and awareness. All right, so those are the messages from the Lemurians. Again, I will be bringing a lot more of this through. In fact, going forward for the next month or two, this is probably going to be the main focus of the readings for the Starseeds and Lightworkers that I do, because the Lemurian energy is just where Spirit has aligned me, despite my interests elsewhere. But now that I've learned and I've connected, I'm like, oh yeah, I like this. This is just quite a bit different vibe than anything I've really ever connected to before. And it feels ancient and wise and pure and slow. And I don't know, maybe some of you have seen the movie The Dark Crystal. And the light beings in that movie, that's what the Lemurian energy feels like to me. Just how they're moving slow, to go align with the shadow energy and, create peace. You know what? You guys should probably watch The Dark Crystal if you haven't seen it, or even if you have, just because, I don't know, that came out of nowhere. It's just, that's what I started feeling, the light beings in that movie, as the Lemurian energy. So the Dark Crystal for sure. And then again, the PDF on this book, it's free, and who doesn't like free? This is just, I loved reading this, and I think you guys will too, and it helped activate me quite a bit. And frankly, that's really the only resource I feel that's worth sharing that I have explored through this process of connecting and activating within the Lemurian energies. So those are the messages. I am sending you guys lots of love and light. Take care.